Hey everyone, I'd like to talk to you about the top mistake I make playing one of the best decks in Modern, 4-color Omnath, and that is land sequencing, fetching the wrong land, etc. I think it's pretty common mistake. I've made it a lot. I keep making it sometimes, and I'd like to share my insights on that. So, yeah. First of all, you want to make sure you're fetching the wrong or the right lands so you can cast Ren and 6, Iteration, etc. Have mana up for counterspell, consider that. And these are kind of maybe a bit more obvious because it's early in the game. You maybe have your opening hand, but there's also the cards you can draw. So always keep in mind, what if I draw Ren and 6? What if I draw Iteration? What if I draw Icefang Cuddle, Counterspell? Basically all your 2-drops. Later in the game, it's usually a bit easier to cast these cards. But yeah, don't be scared to shock. Don't try to save life unless you're maybe playing against burn, and even then it can cost you down the line. But one of the most common mistakes and more punishing mistakes I make is a bit later in the game. I'll be okay, it's turn 3, turn 4. I think I can afford to fetch a basic. My life total might matter, but in reality, what happens more often than not is that you get to a point where you're trying to cast Iteration and have counterspell mana up, or Iteration, Ren and 6, etc., etc. And because you got that basic plains, because you got that basic forest or whatnot, you're gonna get punished, and you're essentially gonna maybe not time walk yourself, but cost yourself a lot of mana, a lot of tempo, and in the end, the 2 life would have not been that relevant, or maybe you could have gotten the basics down the line later in the game, saving your life, saving some life total there. So keep in mind that more often than not, it's going to be worth it to just keep shocking, keep fetching dual lands so that you can play multiple spells on turn 4, turn 5, etc., etc. Another tricky one is how to fetch against Blood Moon, how to balance the fact that, if you fetch too many dual lands and they have Blood Moon, you'll lose. But if you fetch too many basics, you're going to cost yourself so much time by not being able to sequence all your color intensive spells, right? So just try to consider, can I really beat a Blood Moon? Even though with that one basic, will that one basic make a difference? A lot of the time, one basic is not going to be enough. If you only have 2 colored mana, you can't prismatic ending a Blood Moon. And, it might just be not worth it. Just be like, okay, if they have Blood Moon, I lose. But at least if they don't have Blood Moon, I'm going to be able to play all my spells and win that way. So that's a tricky one. There's obviously no clear-cut answers for almost none of these spots. The one thing you probably should almost never do is fetch a basic on turn 1, like Basic Mountain to cast your Ragavan or something like that, unless you're playing against Burn. But yeah, consider that. And after sideboard, consider especially Endurance, Force of Vigor, especially Endurance if you play Endurance on your sideboard. If you play cards like Endurance, Verdict, maybe if you're playing the version with Eternal Witness, definitely keep in mind the double green necessity. Keep the double white necessity for Solitude, double red for Fury, etc., etc. So always keep in mind what could happen, how much the life total is really worth. Is it really worth saving that 2 life? Another sequencing mistake, another situation that's arise for me is being out of blue mana to fetch, and typically that'll be when you fetched aggressively Breeding Pool, Hallowed Fountain, and Steam Vents early in the game, and you find yourself with a non-blue fetch land. So, for instance, a Windswept Heath, and you find yourself wanting to fetch blue mana for counterspell typically, and you realize, oh, I have Windswept Heath, but I've already fetched my Hallowed Fountain and my Breeding Pool, and my Windswept Heath just doesn't fetch untapped blue mana anymore. That's something that's also happened to me many times and cost me many games. So keep in mind when you're fetching your dual lands in the early game that you might want to save that blue dual land in the deck to have counterspell mana up. Obviously, if you have a blue fetch land, that's not a problem. You have the 2 basic islands, so you're not going to run out that fast. And finally, something relating to fetching as well is when to fetch the triomes or not, you know. The upside of fetching triomes is that they fix your mana nicely. The downside is that down the line, you're less likely to draw a cycling land, and if the game goes really long, you're gonna wish you drew a cycling land, been able to cycle it, get it back with Ren and 6. That's another tricky one. So I usually, rule of thumb, I usually just get at least a triumph early in the game because odds are it's not going to matter that much and it's going to be more important to have good mana. And the fact of fetching these triumphs means you know you have more of these blue untapped dual lands left in your deck for down the line. So yeah, it's kind of tough. You know, obviously, once again, no clear-cut answer, but another thing to consider when you're fetching. So yeah, that's it. Kind of the top mistake, easy to make mistake and kind of easy to fix as well. Mistake you can make when playing Omnath Furion in Modern. I hope that was insightful. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know maybe some of your, you know, top mistakes that you make that could be easy to fix, something you want to share with me. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Hope you all have a great day, great week, and I'll see you next time.